See, Flash, his main probably mined out. His natural not doing too good. He has that mineral only. He has the 2 o'clock. Leta has the 9 o'clock. His main is mined out. His natural still doing something. Just not putting up his mineral only. And Flash also not putting down the 2 o'clock. So that's 1, 2, 3 mining bases. 3.5 mining bases if you count the mineral only that's coming up. Leta's sitting on... with a 5 o'clock base that I mentioned, he actually has 4 mining bases if you count his mineral only. So Leta has kind of reestablished himself economically and done some damage, preventing Flash from doing very heavy harassment. And Flash just has a huge siege tank line there to defend his main. I think actually if that gets dropped upon, it might be trouble. Leta actually thinking of doing exactly that. Gonna run around and drop. We're gonna see actually whether he tries to see. He's gonna try to seize this from a distance. Flash reacts instantly by putting his own dropships into play, putting his own tanks, re-maneuvering the tanks he has on the ground, actually using his dropships. Probably picked that up. That one refinery there instantly getting taken down, and the command center floated out of range. Both players just reacting as well as they can. Flash also going to drop among the siege tank line there at the bottom, and is going to take all of that out. Can prevent Leta from moving up too quick, but Leta actually going to move up down to the side. We're going to see whether Flash actually decides to move all of his troops away, tries to prevent this attack from happening. And Leta apparently going for a pincer. Flash is going to have to try to fly away with those dropships, actually dropping some tanks just below the command center, try to prevent Leta from moving in towards the Leta, actually moving in on the side as well. I believe has some forces there, so if he tries to go for a pincer, it could be successful. Yes, he's actually going to go for it. Several tanks trying to run in close, trying to attack those siege tanks, running close enough to do so, and I think they're actually going to be able to take it out. Leta there taking them out, now going to start sieging up. Flash, however, does have reinforcement to take those tanks out. So Leta taking out a decent tank line, but also losing a bunch of his own tanks. So back and forth Terran game here so far. Again, more drops coming up for Flash, and I need a sip of tea. Earl Grey with honey. Yum, 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 yum. More comsat stations going up everywhere. Just an erratic game so far. Full-on dropship play. I gotta admit, I gotta like the amount of dropships coming up. Both players, of course, expert at this. Flash is gonna go for a drop at the 2 o'clock and try to reestablish, but taking down a lot of times. Is gonna get... He was floated down his command center at the 3 o'clock and gets that completely dropped. I think at this point he might now lose it. The command center is about at half health. It was in critical danger earlier, but apparently the Goliath got taken out, so no, the Commander is going to manage to live, and now Flash is going to float it up to the 2 o'clock. So right now it's both players just fighting for this 2 o'clock. Flash fighting to hold it and take it and start mining from it. Leta fighting to take it out and prevent it from being put up. Because he is, I believe, a full base over Flash at this point, as long as that 2 o'clock does not come up, because he has been harassed much more and earlier in the game, but a full base over at this point is really helping him out. He really reinforces all of his troops. Both players are going to drop on the ridge. They're going to meet each other up. Scans going off. And Flash has those Goliaths moving in close. Has some tanks bug out, but I think Leta might have a few more tanks. Yes, he does. More dropships are coming. I'm going to see whether those are to support or pick him up. Meanwhile, Leta dropping a Goliath and a tank right among the line there, but those forces are going to get taken out. Leta unsieging there, apparently, or sieging up. Now unsieging to move his forces out of the way. Gives up the ridge. Leta still holding the 3 o'clock position. Has some tanks to defend. You can see the look of focus on both players, actually knowing that any false move, any big mistake could be horrible. This is the chess match of a Terran versus Terran, as you can see. Natural expansion of Leta still kind of mining a little bit. Also almost getting taken out. Flashstone finally has begun kind of mining a little bit at the 2 o'clock. Going to see whether Leta actually tries to go for that again. Really just the problem, he hasn't been able to take out the command center, because the command center has managed to land again and again, but if he actually did manage to take out the command center itself, he really put Flash behind. Seriously behind, not managed to take out the base. Both players have so many dropships to play at this point. Dropships are going to move in. One dropship instantly getting taken out. Flash has a huge Goliath line ready for those dropships going in. Actually going to move out with his own dropships to run his forces down and just completely take Leta out. And Leta loses a lot of forces in that one engagement there. Getting caught badly by a large Goliath line. Now those Goliaths are actually going to move out in position very close to Leta's tanks. Leta going to lose a lot of forces, and Flash is going to hold and take the 3 and 2 o'clock position. Leta trying to run up the temple that has been taken out. They tried to siege on the ridge there. Flash has a tank though in position to try to defend it, but that tank, one tank's not going to last very long, but I think tank might actually have enough force to help defend this. There's a fan sleeping going, I don't want to watch a TVT. I came here for Yarnak. I don't know. But yeah, Leta just desperately trying to hold this position. Still has a decent number of tanks in the middle. Now both players sieging up very close at the north. More forces, I believe, down on the ground there by Leta. So he actually should be able to take this out. Flash still has most of his forces in those dropship that is just running all over the place. You're going to see where they actually tried to put them on the ridge to show the forces that were on the ground. Machine shop spinning yet again. So vultures now out on the ground. So mines now coming up. Leta now going to try to rely a little bit also on vultures to help take him out those tank lines. You're going to see where he actually tries to use them as you would use them against dragoons. Just getting close, plant mines, and, you know, suicide in basically. If you get a large enough number, you might actually be able to run it. You are going to need some speed though to try to dodge those immense amount of siege fire going to be coming your way. More factories now being put up by Flash. Still has those 2 starports that are producing almost nothing but dropships at this point. Leta again going to try to siege in, going to siege some of his tanks, and I think the rest he's going to try to drop in close. There are Goliaths and tanks in position. Yeah, Leta is actually going to try to drop in some of his forces close. Flash has reinforcements very close by. We're going to see holes whether Leta actually managed to take this out or not. He has even more reinforcements going in. A lot of tanks trying to move close. Flash still holding with only a few tanks, but Leta has more forces, is actually being able to move down. We're going to see where the Flash, I think he has some forces at the 2 o'clock moving in. At this 3 o'clock, trying to build a command center there, but Leta actually manages to hold this and take this out. I think Flash barely holds with one single tank. Now his reinforcement just coming in with a drop. You're going to see Leta has some forces at near his own base, not really pulling them close. Now there's a few siege tanks just outside the base. Not going to be too successful. Also, now vultures have speed, I believe. Now going to run in close. We're not going to see whether they have this mine or not. And the command center, I believe, was cancelled. Flash said it was far too risky, because I'm going to start to rebuild a command center at range. Flash going to pick up a lot of tanks and try to drop right up among the lines. Leta's actually going to start unsieging, moving close with vultures. Going to start putting mines all over the place. Mines going to go off, take off some tanks alongside the vultures. Now even more mines going to go off. We're going to see where the Flash actually got planted right among the lines. Got some tanks and glides. They're taken out due to mines. But most of the vultures at this point now dead. Leta has been kind of successful with those vultures. Has taken a lot of tanks and glides out with those mines, but not too much. Flash still managing sort of to hold his army together. Managed to hold a both players. Still managing to have a rather large army. Flash also has a lot of CVs running around to protect. Start to engage. Leta has a bunch of SUVs trying to repair a single tank while Flash is trying to surround it and kill it off. Flash actually trying to reinforce with soldiers. Leta still managing to hold that one single tank alive with a bunch of SUVs surrounding it. Still has some vultures running around planting mines and just trying to siege him at range to spot them. Though there's a lot of scans going off for Flash to make sure he knows where to drop. He's actually going to start dropping them onto this tank now. Mine going off. Not taking out some SUVs, not taking out the tank itself. Tried to get that tank, finally now takes it out. Now Flash is going to be able to hold this. Leta has actually established his own command center at that position. I think that's going to be completely taken out there. Leta now going to be in trouble. Without me even noticing, somehow managed to plan a command center at that position without trying to hold it there. Both players at this point fighting for resources because the 9 o'clock's mined out. Both players' mains are mined out. The mineral onlys are probably doing horrible at this point. I think the 1 o'clock is kind of drying up. I think the 5 o'clock is kind of drying up. So this right side main and natural are really the only thing these guys are fighting for. They're fighting for minerals. They're fighting for minerals and gas. They're fighting for the resources. Flash is actually distance mining at this point, trying to take whatever he can get. Doesn't bother wasting time to move his command center is in position, probably rebuilding command center at the 3 o'clock base, still trying to hold that position there. And Leta just desperately going to try to go for another drop or maybe a full-in attack to try to take out the force and possibly take out the bases. There still is a lot of dropships in the air. Whew, boy. I'm kind of surprised none other players try to go for supply or for production. I think that would be a pretty decent strategy. Just maybe try to use a small contingent of forces to try to go for supplies on Flash, trying to rebuild the SCV. The command center. That is the CC at the 9 o'clock. Mineral only still doing something. Flash still has his mineral only active. Leta, I believe, has mostly mined out his at this point. Yes, he has. I believe he has. Flash still trying to keep some minerals alive. A lot of just both players a little bit on a standby right now, just trying to gather up forces, thinking of where it is that they can move around. More Goliath's gonna fly out, attack. Something flying out. I think Mike actually, if I was not mistaken, I think that was actually Flash possibly firing at one of his own forces, possibly in Little APM is taken. Actually, Leta is going to go for this 3 o'clock position. Has vultures moving in. A crap load of tanks. Flash has positions at the upper position and at the natural itself. And I think Leta might actually be in a rather bad position there. You hear a lot of clapping in the background. Flash has his forces positioned perfectly, ready to attack at all angles. Mine gonna go off, get taken down just before it does anything. Beautiful micro there. Leta does not break, lose a crap load of forces, which he had a crap load of forces, so technically he would lose a crap load of forces, but that's what happens. Both players desperately fighting for minerals. You don't see too much. A covert ops going down for Leta. Leta has a covert ops coming down, so we're gonna see what the